21. So, yeah. Sutu vacha evam dharme bhavadati sa samrat satamaha samahitena manasa vikeda harya tadam Sutu vacha evam dharme bhavadati sa samrat satamaha samahitena manasa vikeda harya chastatam Sutu vacha evam dharme bhavadati sa samrat satamaha samahitena manasa vikeda harya chastatam
Sutta vacha
Sutu vacha
evam dharme pravadati samahitena manasa
vacha evam bhavati samahitena manasa Sutu vacha Sutu Goswami said evam so dharme the personality of religion pravadati thus having spoken sa he samrat the emperor Dvija Satama O best among the brahmanas samahitena with proper attention manasa by the mind vikeda without any mistake paryachasta counter replied tam unto him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of the Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami said, O best of the Brahmanas, the Emperor Parikshit, thus hearing the personality of religion speak, was fully satisfied. And without mistake or regret, he gave his reply. So we're going to hear his reply now also. This is a short purport here. The statement of the bull, the personality of religion, was full of philosophy and knowledge, and the king was satisfied since he could understand that the suffering bull was not an ordinary one. Unless one is perfectly conversant with the law of the Supreme Lord, one cannot speak such things touching philosophical truth. The emperor, being also on an equal level of sagacity, replied to the point without doubts or mistakes. Text 22. Raju vacha dharman bhavasi dharmagya dharmosi vishugrupadrik yad dharma krita sthanam sukhat kas yapi tad bhavet. The king said, O you who are in the form of a bull, you know the truth of religion, and you are speaking according to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator or of irreligious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are no other than the personality of religion. Purport. A devotee's conclusion is that no one is directly responsible for being a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, he does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is his grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent, but in case of loss or reverses, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord could be so unkind to his devotee as to put him in great difficulty. In the Second World War, it was a big war, and the German ladies and the daughters and wives are all praying, God, please send our husband back. They didn't come back. A lot of them, like most of them. So they became atheists. Because how could God, we prayed, how could God do this? So yeah, that's there. Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such great difficulty being crucified by the ignorant, but he was never angry at the mystic mongers. It's like he was just preaching God consciousness, and the Jews themselves, they're the ones that pretty much condemned him to death. Of course, the Romans were in charge, but the leaders of the Jewish faith, they wanted him out because he's pretty radical. Jesus, he went to the main church there, and they're doing business at the church, and he just went around. He just throwing, flipping tables. What? This is the house of God. How can you do business here? And yeah, it's pretty intense. And he was against the killing of the calves. They're all coming and doing offerings of the calf, so he was against it also. So yeah, he wasn't appreciated by the Jews. But then when they put him up on the cross, what did he say? God, please forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. He didn't blame. He didn't say, what kind of treatment is this? I'm just preaching God consciousness. How could you treat me like this? He didn't complain. Prabhupada says in the purport and Bhagavad Gita that better than protesting is to be tolerant, because nothing happens, as Prabhupada says in the purport here, that nothing happens without the sanction of Krishna. So Haridas Thakur, same thing. Such a great devotee, just chanting Hare Krishna, worshiping God, preaching God consciousness, and the Muslims couldn't appreciate it, and therefore they tried to kill him. How many marketplaces? 22. 22. And generally they're dead after 4. But he was just chanting Hare Krishna. And they were so they just kept beating him. And then they lamented when they got to the end. After the 22nd, they were lamenting. Well, why are you lamenting? Haridas asked them. Because we're supposed to kill you and you're not dead. Oh, okay, then I'll die. Haridas Thakur is a nice person. All right, I don't want to be in trouble for you. Okay, I'll die. So he went into total samadhi. So, but he didn't complain. The devotee doesn't complain. Whatever happens, he sees it as a sanction of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says, Upadrashta Anumantacha. Anumanta means he is the sanctioner. Upadrashta, he's the overseer, and he's he who gives sanction. Upadrashta Anumanta. Bharta. Bhokta. Bhokta means enjoyer. Bharta Bhokta. No, Upadrashta Anumarta. Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. Upadrashta Anumantacha. Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. Suradam. Oh, I can't remember it now. Anyway, this is a very nice verse in the 23rd chapter. This is the way of accepting a thing either favorable or unfavorable. So if it's favorable, that's good. If it's unfavorable, that's also good. Because the devotee sees, well, whatever Krishna arranges, it's good for me. Therefore, he's beyond duality. It's all good. Whatever Krishna arranges is good. Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner. Just like they have that saying that if you blame someone, you put your finger. There's three coming at us, right? You. But we're also guilty in so many ways. Right? Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner, like the mischief monger. By God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses. Mars Pricket observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was no other than the personality of religion himself, personified. In other words, a devotee has no suffering at all, because so-called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. That's beautiful. I'll read that again. A devotee has no suffering at all, because so-called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. And there's no accidents. Like sometimes on book distribution, it's a good line. Someone stops for showing the book, and there's kind of undecided, and I tell them, this is not an accident. No, what do you mean? Well, that you're standing there, that I'm sitting here, and you're holding this book in your hand. It's not an accident. Yeah, it's meant to be. Fate is in your favor. Oh, okay. It's a good one. The cow and bull never placed any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali. Although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities. The extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshram Militam Dina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namakum Prabhu Pungamung Hayate Gurim Yakripa Tadaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinadana Vanchakapachuviyascha Kripa Sindhu Jevicha Patitanam Pavani Vaishnavi Vyonam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Yes, as soon as we blame someone for our suffering, then we don't understand that Krishna's in control. Krishna's in control of everything. Labante Brahmanavana Risik Simakama China dvaitya tatmana sarabhuta hita. One who is free of the dualities that arise from doubt. This is one of my favorite verses. If we have faith that Krishna is in control, then whatever happens, we know it's good for us. Because Krishna, he's our best friend. It's nice to have God as our best friend. Our best friend is God. So he knows what's best for us. Father, there used to be a movie or a show in television, Father knows best. So he knows what's best for us. Sometimes, actually quite often, we don't know what's best for us because we're conditioned souls, but Krishna knows what's best for us. So he puts us in certain circumstances for our spiritual growth. See, this Labante Brahman is free of the duality that arises from whose mind is always engaged within. So if we're thinking of Krishna, Krishna's so pleased. And he's also thinking of how to help us. Actually, Prabhupada says in one purport that Krishna is never inattentive in our deliverance from this material world. He's trying to help everybody. But the problem is, we're stubborn. What was it Prabhupada says? Dog something, dog stubborn, something. So actually there's some
Tail.
Huh?
Tail of the dog.
No, there's he makes some statement, I can't remember. But we're very stubborn. So therefore it makes it a little difficult for Krishna. We make it a little difficult for Krishna. He wants us to surrender and go back to him, but we make it a little difficult. We still want to enjoy. We want to be the bhokta. We want to be the enjoyer. But the reality is, Krishna's the enjoyer. We can also be the enjoyer. Prabhupada gives the example of a very wealthy man, multi-billionaire. He's got his big mansion, and the servants are there, and they're pretty much they're living in the mansion too. So they're also enjoying, and they probably get some pretty good food too. They got the big lawn there. You got all facility there. But he's the servant. If he tries to be the owner, then you got a problem. And Prabhupada also gives the example of someone who he built a big mansion, and he gives the workers, the money for building it, and then they build it, finished, beautiful mansion, and the workers decide to stay in it. And the owner comes in, hey, okay, you did a good job, thanks a lot. Here's your payment, and see you later. And they say, well, wait a second, we built it. We want to stay. Well, we can't stay. Well, why not? We built it. What's going to happen? What will the owner do? Call the police. Yeah, no, I'm the owner here. They're just the workers here. And then they tell the police, well, wait, but we built it. We want to stay here. What's the police going to do? They're going to grab and take him. They're going to pull him out. Sorry, it's not your place. It's not your money. So people think, well, this is my home, or this is my country. This is my car. This is my that. I and my generation, me, all about me. But no, actually, it's about Krishna. Yeah. And then this verse goes on to say that one is free of the dualities that arise from whose mind is always engaged, who's always busy, acting for the welfare of others. And the best way to act for the welfare of others is by giving Krishna. There's no better way to act for the welfare of others. Because Krishna, he knows what is best. for everyone. So, and he gives guidance. In the Bhagavad Gita and in so many of our books, Krishna is giving guidance. We need guidance. People don't know what's best for them. It's like people that are intoxicated. They don't know. Yeah. They're bewildered. So people are intoxicated with what? False ego. Intoxicated. Prabhupada said they don't need more intoxication. They're already intoxicated. Too much intoxicated. Pride and false ego. And then Krishna goes on to say, when is free of the dualities arise from doubt, whose mind is always engaged within, who is always busy acting for the welfare of others, and who is free of sin, such a person is understood to be already liberated. Beautiful verse. And this is, this is the reality. So Krishna, he gives sanction for everything. It's like there's a statement, there's a British statement, that not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of Krishna. Yeah. Everything is moving by the sanction of Krishna. Yeah. And he's observing everything. Like sometimes people think they're doing things in secret. Sometimes it's like people do illicit things, illegal things, and they think nobody's watching. But everything's being watched and recorded. Not only watched, but everything is being recorded. So, yeah, we have to be careful about what we do. Yeah. So this body is a great gift. And if we use this body in a way that is pleasing to Krishna, then we advance very nicely in Krishna consciousness. There's a statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nirdeham adyang sulabhang sadurlabham plabam karbam. It's a tongue twist. Nirdeham adyang sulabhang sadurlabham plabam. Anyway. So in this statement, it says that the body is like it's a boat, and it can help us cross over this ocean of material existence. How big is the ocean of material existence? It's big. It's big. It's like all the universe, all the material universes put together. That's the ocean of material existence. So this body is a boat by which we can cross this vast ocean of material existence. And the captain is spiritual master. He's just like if someone is out in a boat and there's no captain, you just go in circles because he navigates. He knows how to navigate. None of us would know how to do it. If we go out in a boat, we would go in circles because there's a way. You have to be trained, how to man a boat. There are these big boats out there. So, and the favorable winds is, the Vedas. And so it's an opportunity to get out of this ocean of material existence. Prabhupada said that Krishna will come, if you're sincere, Krishna will come and he'll take your sika and he'll pull you out. I asked one elderly Malati, she was around. I said, do you remember Prabhupada saying that? She said, yeah, Prabhupada said that. Krishna will come and take your sika. And I said, well, what about the women? They don't have a sika. She said, well, we'll grab your feet. So this is how we can escape from this ocean of material existence. Taking the instructions of Krishna, hearing very attentively and applying. Prabhupada said that this process is simple, but the application is difficult. Always think of Krishna. Just that one is like, whoa, that's a tough one. Because the mind, the rascal, doesn't want to think of Krishna. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. So it's a simple process. Just think of Krishna. But we're dealing with this mind. So this is also there's this nice example of the chariot, how the chariot is the body, and then you got the horses, which are the senses, pulling, and the reins. What is the reins? The mind is the reins, and the driver, intelligence, and the passenger is the soul saying, "Whoa, slow down, chill out, slow down." Being a little reckless, and therefore you see the horses are like, they're scared. Why? They're scared because the driver is the intelligence is polluted. So we're trying to purify the intelligence. If we purify the intelligence, then the intelligence will guide the mind. But if the intelligence is polluted, then the mind is. So we nurture the intelligence by hearing. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing Bhagavad Gita, we nurture the intelligence, and that keeps the mind down. With the intelligence, we can beat the mind. Hey, shut up. Nonsense, shut up. Gotta chastise it every once in a while. So this verse, actually in Bhagavatam, this example goes on to say that in the chariot there's also a bow. And the bow is the mantra. It says Om, but we use the Hare Krishna mantra. So the Hare Krishna mantra is like a bow, and the living entity is the arrow. And the bow of the Hare Krishna mantra shoots the living entity back to the spiritual world. Nice, huh? So this is what we're doing when we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. We're being shot back to the spiritual world. But we just have to be attentive. That's another challenge. Being attentive in the chanting. Yeah. But this is our destiny. Back home. Yeah. Any intelligent person will want to go to a place where there's no death, there's no old age, there's no disease, there's no anxiety. But in Kali Yuga, it's rare to find someone that's intelligent, unfortunately. I mean, there's some very intelligent people, there's PhDs and doctors and scientists, but Maya Pratigyanam, knowledge has been stolen away by illusion. Those who are grossly foolish. Lowest of mankind, whose knowledge has been stolen by illusion, or partake of the atheistic nature of demons, they don't surrender unto me. So that's practically, all the population right there. Yeah. But who does surrender? Chatur vidha bhajanti mam. Those who are distressed. Anybody ever experienced that here?
Yes.
Distress? That's the main reason that people come. Distress. Therefore, it's difficult when like we're distributing books, the people that say, "No, I'm good." It's difficult for them. They think they're good. Maya has them. I think, no, it's good. I'm good. So it's difficult for them to take to Krishna consciousness. But if there's some reversal, then people stop and think, well, wait a second, maybe there's something more. But there's some atheists that are very determined. They don't, it's just nature. Yeah. I'll tell you an interesting thing that happened. That there was a devotee, a good devotee, and he had some difficulty. It happens. People come and people go. It happens a lot. So there's one devotee. He had some difficulty, and he left. And he was a surfer, so he was out surfing in Florida, and a shark came. A big shark came at him, and he's getting away. He's trying to paddle away. He said, Krishna, if you get me out of this, I promise you I'll go back to the temple and I'll never leave again. So the shark came and he took a bite, but he only got the board. So he made it back. He survived, and he went back to the temple. He didn't leave after that. He took that as a sign from Krishna. Another amazing instance of another instance where she was a devotee for many years, and she had some difficulty. Prabhupada said 50% of it we should accept as our own fault, ISKCON, that they left, and 50% is their fault. It's not just their fault, because a lot of times there's mistreatment, in the movement, because we're conditioned souls. Sometimes leaders don't know how to lead. We're fortunate here. We got Vaiseshika who knows how to lead. He's a good leader, Krishna conscious. So, but some leaders, they don't know how to lead. It's just material world. So sometimes it's our fault, and sometimes it's their fault. About half and half. So this lady, she left and she married a non-devotee. And actually, it was in the Bay Area here. She was living in the Bay Area here. And they were driving down the street, 60, 70 miles an hour, and they got in an accident. And the car is tumbling. And she starts screaming, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And she's shouting it over and over and over again. Over and over again. And then the car stops. And he says, are we alive, or are we in heaven, or And she said, I think we're alive. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're alive. Oh, what were you shouting? What was that? And she said, oh, I never told you. I used to be a Hare Krishna. And he just saved our life. And he said, oh, really? He said, yeah. Well, he said, well, tell me more. So she started preaching to him right there. until the ambulance came. Until the tow truck came and everything. And he was enthralled. He was amazed. Wow, this is good philosophy. And he kept preaching to him. And eventually, she became a devotee again. He became a devotee again. Why? Because they had that traumatic experience, a very distressful experience. So, yeah, sometimes these are welcomed. These are welcomed. Difficulties for devotees are welcomed because it gives impetus to think of Krishna. Therefore, what does Queen Kunti say? Vipada santita sasva tatra jagati bhavato darsanam yata apana bhavadarsana. That she's praying, please Krishna, please give me calamity again and again. Because when I receive calamity, then that helps me to escape from bhava, from the material world. So she prays. Very few people pray like that. I was in a class. I asked everybody, did anybody here pray like that? One person, he rose his hand. Yeah. Oh, okay. Queen Kunti program. So yeah, generally we try to avoid difficulty, but devotees they don't mind because it's opportunity to think of Krishna. Just like book distribution, it's not an easy service. I have the one friend of mine. She was talking to one devotee, and he asked, "So what kind of service do you do?" She said, "Well, I'm a book distributor." He said, "Oh, very difficult." It can be very difficult, but it can be just the sweetest thing there is. You know, all of us book distributors, we know. And therefore, Krishna, he says, happiness in the mode of goodness means it's bitter in the beginning and then nectar in the end. So if you distribute books for a while, then you experience the nectar. But if it takes a little time for you. Sometimes devotees, they get it's bitter in the beginning, it's nectar later, and then it becomes bitter again. It gets bitter. Sometimes it's like, actually book distribution is a little bit like chutney. Because you know, chutney, it should be so hot that you can't eat it, and so sweet that you can't stop eating it. So book distribution can be like that. It can be a little tough, you know, even after doing it for a while. But if you keep doing it, it gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Because not only does it benefit the people, but it gives opportunity for us to really take shelter of Krishna. Because on book you really have to take shelter of Krishna on book distribution. I mean, that's the key. You gotta be Krishna conscious. And this gives impetus to be Krishna conscious. Because you know, it's not easy. You gotta be Krishna conscious on book distribution. So it gives impetus. You gotta read, and you gotta chant good rounds, and you gotta pray. You know, it's I mean, I've done other services. I've done a little bit of Pujari service, and I've done a little cooking. But on book distribution, you got Krishna, please help me. I'm an insignificant little nothing out here. I mean, please help me. When you're doing other services, when you're cooking, you're like, you don't have to pray, Krishna, please help me to cook this sabji. I don't know how to. Isn't it? I mean, generally it's not. I know you're a cook. You had to pray a lot.
Not as much as.
But you pray also.
Of course.
Yeah, also. Please fix it. If something goes bad, you fix it. Okay. So there can be reversals even on cooking. Probably in Pujari service also. There's one devotee. He's a book distributor, and we used to in Miami. We used to bathe the deities and do artics, and we used to do all kinds of deity service because there wasn't many brahmanas. So he was bathing the deities, and they were brass Gauri ties. So you take lemon, and you put it on the deities. You know, it helps get shiny. And so he was squeezing lemon, and he squeezed it, and it went into Lord Chaitanya's eye, and he didn't move it. And so he thought, oh, it's okay. And then he squeezed it, and then he got a shot in his own eye, and it came back to him. You know, Lord Chaitanya didn't like it. He didn't remove the lemon from his eye. So, oh, you like that, huh? You went into his eye. So yeah, in all services, there's some difficulties we had to face, and we pray to Krishna. But on book distribution, it's a very regular thing, and it's good to pray to Krishna, because that's what it's all about. We want to take shelter of Krishna, and so it's a great opportunity to take shelter of Krishna. And it helps us to be Krishna conscious. It charges our battery, actually. Book distribution charges our battery. Yeah. And therefore, Prabhupada, he wanted everybody to learn the art of book distribution, even our IT fellows, our friends, IT friends. Everybody, he wanted everybody to learn the art of book distribution. Charges the battery, just like everybody, practically everybody in the world is fond of their phones. Yeah. Even 6-year-old kids, they have iPhones now. It's crazy. Yeah. And they're very useful, right? I use it also. We use it on Sankirtan all the time. We use it for so many reasons, right? But what if the battery goes dead? If the battery goes dead, it's finished. It has no use, right? And eventually the battery completely wears out, right? You got to get in, So if our Krishna conscious battery is not charged, it's not good. So this is what we're doing every day. We're going to Mangalartik, we're hearing, we're doing services. All this is to charge the battery. We want to get a full charge. If we have a full charge and we leave our body, then what happens? We go back to Krishna. Yeah. And so this chanting, this service, all this is meant to purify us. Yeah. And we need a lot of purification. I probably need more than the rest of you. Yeah. But I was just thinking, I was chanting the other day, I was thinking that the mind is like, it's like a garbage container. There's so much garbage up there. Just like you have these garbage trucks, they go and they pick up all this garbage and they dump it. So what we're doing when we're practicing Krishna consciousness is we're dumping the garbage. It's a lot of garbage, and it still comes. And every once in a while the garbage comes back. Hey, Hare Krishna. That's how we get the garbage out. Hare Krishna. Right? We're doing that, it happens, right? And sometimes the garbage comes back in. Hare Krishna. And get rid of the garbage. And when we completely get rid of all the garbage and there's just Krishna, then we're good. Up till then, we're not good. Then we're pure. If we're pure, then we could also associate with purity. Yeah. Then we will be welcomed back to the spiritual world. So it's something to look forward to. Being with all our old friends. And our old friends are like, hey, where's my friends? Where's my friends? And we go back, oh, you've been gone so long. We go back with our friends, especially our dearest friend, Krishna. The spiritual world is so nice, but what is so nice, what is the nicest thing about the spiritual world is Krishna is there. So we're preparing for that journey. So is there any question or comment?
So I really like the point that on book distribution, we face difficulties more regularly, so that's why we need to pray more regularly. That's why it is good. It is good. Book distribution service is good. So Maharaj, Yashishika Maharaj says always book distribution is high sadhana.
High sadhana.
I understood it in one way, but now I can connect it. That because we have to be conscious of Krishna always in book distribution or more regular than other services. Many times you would say, oh, you are doing much better than me. But I never understood because Prabhupada said, even if you're cleaning the floor or you're worshipping the deities, every service is absolute. So how can I say that book distribution is better or higher than other service? Now I understand. In terms of remembering Krishna, you have to be more conscious. That's why it is. Although service is absolute, but because you have to be more conscious of Krishna, That's
Yeah.
why it is said.
Yeah. Yeah. Vaisheshika Prabhu is my hero. He gives so much nice guidance for the Bhakti Shivers in his book and in so many lectures. Yeah, we're very fortunate. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Maharaj has a class that he gave in San Luis Obispo, in that he talks about, I think his name is John Newton or somebody who was lost at sea by himself, all alone, and he had no probability of survival. And then at that time, he prayed to God and he made like a pact. Like, if you were to save me, I will dedicate the rest of my life in preaching your glory. He made a pact like that. And then miraculously, he was saved. And then he became like a Christian missionary or something. And Maharaj was talking about how in that situation, he had an amplified sense of sincerity to the Lord, and he was willing to surrender himself completely in that situation. And Maharaj was talking about an amplified sincerity. It's the same as you were telling, the devotee was surfing, and then he prayed to Krishna that if you save me, I will give my life to you. So
Yeah.
it reminded of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. Yeah.